Right. Okay, I think we can get started. Welcome to the final race of the season. Well, not of the season, of 2024. We're only halfway through the season. Hold on, let me just pause that. This is Tier 3. This is Season 16 of GT, the GT7 Group 3 Championship that we do every single Monday in ALR. At the moment, we've got a 3-horse race for the championship between Sam, Anonyma, and Astro. They've all been pretty consistently in the top 5, top 4, and spreading the wins out between themselves throughout the season. But yeah, let's go through the grid and see where everyone lines up for this race. We've got 12 laps, because it's quite a short lap around Laguna Seca. A very tight and twisty track where any slight mistake puts you in the gravel, and it can really unravel from there. So in last place we got Pasty in the Gen X, not enjoying his car this season by the looks of things. Lining up just ahead of him is Jezza, who has been a lot better at qualifying in his Lambo than P15, so maybe not one of the better qualifyings for him. Then we got Spin in P14 in the other Lamborghini, so those two lining up side by side. Not getting on top of qualifying. Whack down in 13th is a bit of a shock as well. So, yeah, in his Nismo, he just couldn't string things together by looks of things. Lines up P13, just behind Captain Eli in the Ferrari. Ferrari's a pretty good car around here, so maybe he'll be a bit disappointed. But this is his very first race at ALR around Laguna Seca, so maybe a bit less experienced than some of the others. Hurricane lines up P11 in the other Genesis, so neither Gen X able to crack the top 10 this week. Then we got Cherry in 10th in the first Lexus. He had a bit of a rocky week in Interlagos, so he'll be looking to recover from that. Similar, Yuri, who was really strong in the opening 2 rounds, fell away a little bit last week. Lining up 9th today, just behind Nectar in the Alfa Romeo. Pretty good qualifying for Nectar. Up in 8th place there for him. He's trying to finish in the top 10 a little bit more. He's been a bit unlucky, but had some fairly decent races up to certain points when things started to unravel. Fancy Locks is making his second appearance in Tier 3. He won on his debut last week, but he is lining up 7th today in the other Nismo, so out-qualifying his teammate Whack again. Then we got Gunmad in 6th in the AMG, really solid qualifying there for Gunmad. This is just his second race of the season. We got Fossey, another driver who was promoted from a lower tier. He's lining up in 5th place in the BRZ. Much better than last week already for him. Then we got the first of our championship challenges. Astro is 4th in the Porsche, just behind his teammate Anonyma in 3rd. Then we have Ethan spoiling the party. He's up in 2nd in the Ferrari, so really solid qualifying for Ethan. And first place is the Lexus of Sam. So let's get the sprint race up and running. 12 laps. We've got Sam on pole position. We've got Ethan trying to steal P1 off the line. Who's going to be quickest? The lights are out. And it looks like Sam was a bit wobbly off the line. Ethan is already ahead of him. And then we've got 3 wide between Fossey and Anonyma, and Gunmad just behind, who looks like he's slotted himself up into 5th place. As everyone... Oh, there's a little bit of contact between Yuri, and there's a few other people making contact as well. Gunmad's completely off. Let's see what happens to Gunmad. So he had a very solid start, and then he was on the gravel a little bit, actually. Rejoins, he's in 5th place, so up 1 on where he started. Then we got Astro just completely sideswiping him, but I think someone made contact with Astro as well. So remember, Astro is one of our championship challenges. He's in the Porsche, so it's always very, very bad off the start. He's lost a couple of positions already. And someone hits Ash. Yeah, there's a huge concertina effect from further back. Fancy Locks was involved as well. Let's see what happened from Whack's point of view. It all happens to the left of Whack, actually. Let's see. Hurricane, what have you got to show for yourself? Oh no, it was Nectar. Nectar. That's why I love the replays. You can really get into the nitty-gritty of what the hell happened. Yeah, Nectar just taking way too much speed into turn 1, and the big loser out of all of that is Gunmad, who's dropping all the way to the back there, and Spin having some issue. But let's go back to the start. We are still just finishing Sector 1, and it is Ethan with a slender lead on Sam and Anonyma, Fossey in P4, Astro 5th, Yuri, Fancy Locks and Hurricane are your top 8 at the moment, but it's looking fairly comfortable here for Ethan. He's got a little bit of a gap on Sam, and Sam's going to have to try and overtake him at some point in the race. There probably will be opportunities to, because this is such a tricky track with lots of sausage curbs that are very easy to go over. As we approach the corkscrew for the very first time, let's see if everyone can take it cleanly. Looks pretty solid for the front cars. There's Spin and Gunmad in last place. Everyone's still fairly close together, as you can see them all going through the corkscrew pretty much one after another. Oh dear, something's happened with Ethan and with Sam in that previous section. Let's follow along with Sam. So Ethan's already got his half second, and Sam got one as well. So it was for actually cutting the corkscrew. So that's huge for both of them, and well, it's really big news for Sam. He's going to maybe lose 2 or 3 positions with that 1 second penalty. Ethan might just about get away with it. He's slowing down now. Sam isn't actually slowing down because he got his penalty slightly later. So Sam's going to bizarrely take the lead of the race. Ethan only loses that 1 position, which is actually incredibly good news for Ethan. He can retake P1 back if he stays close enough, but he goes very, very deep into turn 1, slots in behind Sam, but was very close to making a bit of contact there, to be honest. Got Anonyma in P3 solidly. Fossey, a much better race than last week in the BRZ. This track is way more suited to the BRZ, so I'm not surprised that he's still got the top 3 in his sights, basically. And Astro's in 5th. Then we got a little bit of battle going on. Yuri and Fancy Locks. I think Yuri has just taken that position off of Fancy Locks, and now Whack is going to try and get a move done on his teammate. Whack's got the inside line. He's got it, and he keeps it on the track as well on the exit. So that's a good overtake there for Whack up into P8. Now we've got Cherry and Nectar side by side with Fancy Locks. Cherry going really brave into the corkscrew, and it looks like he's got the position, and everyone goes a little bit deep. Nectar gets out the way, and he's battling with, I think that's Pasty just behind as well. Pasty's off track there around the really sweeping left-hander there. Fancy's going to try and get a move back done on Cherry, so Fancy's had a pretty bad lap. He's fallen down a little bit. Meanwhile, at the front, Sam has lost 2 positions because he's just served his 1 second penalty. That means Ethan is P1, and his title rival Anonyma has overtaken him. That would be a swing of about 4 points in favour of Anonyma. That 1 penalty that Sam had to serve there, if he can't get that position back before the end of the race. We're only on lap 3, so still quite a long way to go. Tyres shouldn't be an issue for any of the cars. Anonyma going pretty deep, kicking up loads of dust there. Top 5 all still fairly close together. Then there's a gap to Hurricane in 6th place, who's got Yuri cruising up to the back of him now. Whack is pretty much on his own after getting his overtakes done. Cherry in 9th, Nectar 10th. Fancy's dropped another position down to 11th actually. Spin, Gunmad's recovering to 13th. They're ahead of Pasty, who we saw go off, and then Jezza into Captain Eli, looking like they're having a bit of a scrap for last position. So how is Ethan gonna negotiate these last few corners of the 3rd lap? He's still got maybe about a second lead on Anonymous, so it's not a very big lead. He's got to find a way to start to build a gap on Anonymous. Anonymous not really letting him go, and Sam is still there as well. Actually, Sam's a little bit closer to Anonymous as we enter the 4th lap. Sam able to close quite a bit of time there in turn 1 and 2. Oh, Astro kicking up a bit of dust there. Okay, here comes Sam. Let's ride on board because he's really hounding Anonyma at the moment. He knows this is an important position in terms of the championship. He needs to not be letting Anonyma finish ahead of him. Anonymous kicking up a bit more dust. Sam, if he's feeling brave, might go for it. He's looking around the outside. He's going to have a better line through the corkscrew than Anonymous, which might tee him up for this next left-hander here if he wants to chuck it in. And he can't. He takes much better line through there than Anonymous did, though. Nothing he can do now unless he gets a really good exit out the final corner. Anonymous hits the sausage curb a little bit, but does get a better exit. In fact, is pulling a little bit on Ethan, who might have had a bit worse final sector. Anonymous setting the fastest lap at 21.8, which is very quick. There's Fossey and Astro, not too far behind. Right, this has settled down a little bit, so let's see what is happening a bit further back. Yuri's still got Whack ahead of him, and he's not been able to get any closer to Hurricane, so Hurricane on for a fairly decent finish there. Cherry tucked in a P9. Nectar is on reverse grid pole at the moment still, so he's still ahead of Fancy. Fancy is looking a little bit racy behind him. He's fairly close. So let's see if Fancy can tee him up for a move into the hairpin. Oh, both of them take that left-hander pretty well, pretty even. Short shifting up into third, Fancy is, to making sure that he doesn't spin his car through the corkscrew. A little bit of brake supply there and a lot of tyre screeching. And it nails that corner a bit better than Nectar did. And everyone's getting very close together now ahead. Fancy Locks is catching up to a lot of cars right now. At 22.5, Fossey's just set the fastest lap actually with a 21.7. So that is the difference in pace between that top group and this group that we're following right now. Oh, Cherry's made a mistake. This is going to open the door for Nectar, potentially. Cherry's out of position. Nectar goes a little bit into the dirt. Fancy's lurking behind as well. And Cherry just goes through that corner much more smoothly. Creates a bit of a gap on Nectar. So yeah, everyone making little mistakes, drawing the other cars close, but then managing to recover it quite well. What's happening near the front? Sam is still stuck behind Anonymous, and he looks like he's getting impatient now. I see Sam's lag much better. His connection was this week. I don't think there was any lag at all. So Ethan's still only got about a second on Anonymous, who himself has about a second on Sam, with Fossey and Astro just another second or two behind. So this is a very close battle for the front, and any little mistake is going to have a big change in who is sitting on the podium. Ooh, Sam nearly didn't get it slowed down. God, it sounds like a lawnmower when there's that BRZ following you around. It's not the most pleasant noise, is it? So Ethan looks like he's had a bit of a better first sector. He's created a bit of a gap to Anonymous. Anonymous looking comfortable still for now, ahead of Sam. Fossey's starting to close the gap on Sam a little bit, to be honest, out of this top group. Looks like there's been a couple of changes in position. Cherry's dropped down to 10th and Yuri down to 11th, so let's see what happened. So here's Yuri in P7. And he goes a little bit deep into the corkscrew, and Whack just gets around him. And then there's Cherry to the left of him. Cherry's gone, and Yuri's also span out there as well. And that's why they've dropped those positions. Unfortunate. So that's good news for Whack. He's up into P7. He's got Nectar and Fancy Locks close behind. Fancy has really put his foot down, because look, he's got an absolutely fantastic run on Nectar on the run down to the corkscrew. Nectar's not going to give him any space to get alongside, and he's going to keep the position for now. Now here we go, this is where the incident happened with Cherry and Yuri. These guys are negotiating it a little bit better. Here is Cherry and here is Yuri. They haven't actually lost that much time. And Cherry's obviously on reverse grip pole as it stands as well. End of lap 7, so we've got 5 more laps to go. Fossey's starting to get pretty close to Sam now. Might be fancying another position. Here we go, he has a much better run up the hill. Stay close through the corkscrew, and then on the next left-hander you could potentially chuck it in. Sam got a better exit through the corkscrew. Then the BRZ just eats up that gap completely. And Sam's going to get away on the straight, obviously. So Ethan's got a fairly cushy gap at the moment. His last lap was 21.9 compared to a 22.1 for an Onima. So he is still lapping quicker. Sam is a further 10th back, and Fossey is just behind as well. Astro lapping similar times. 22.8 for Hurricane, so he's quite a bit slower than those guys, but he's completely on his own, because we've got Whack has actually lost a position to Nectar somewhere. So he is Whack, currently comfortably ahead of Nectar. Gets the left-hander a little bit wrong. Nectar's going to get alongside. And comfortably ahead by the left-hander. And that is why Fancy is all over the back of Whack now. So Whack going a little bit backwards in this race. Nectar on for his best finish of the season. Cherry and Yuri having a little scrap for P10. Very important position. P11 is probably the worst position you can finish in this race, because it means you've just missed out on starting the next race on pole position. Then the unfortunate ones, Pasty, Jezza, Spin, Eli, Gunmad's really far back now. He's had a terrible lap on that previous one. It was a good decision to promote Fossey. Fossey was in tier 5, and look, he's battling with the very fastest in tier 2 already. Oh, I need to plug my controller in. There we go. Yeah, and he's yeah, obviously this is a very well suited track for the BRZ, because there isn't too many high speeds, lots of corners where the BRZ really excels in. Obviously the BRZ is very good on its tyres as well, so it can just keep going and carrying more speed than other cars without losing as much tyre life. So that's part of the reason why Fossey's been able to bring it this week compared to last week, which was much more power based, lots of time in 4th and 5th and 6th gears. Oh, Sam's lost it. Sam has absolutely lost it there, and he's lost a position to Fossey. As a result, he might lose one to Astro as well, his title rival. So this is a disastrous lap for Sam. 3 from the end. He's lost a fairly comfortable podium there, and he's got dirty tyres still, so he's going to keep losing time to Astro as well. Meanwhile, something's happened a little bit further down. Whack has had another incident. Right, he's gone over the sausage curb, he's in the gravel, and he's span, and Nectar was already off. Maybe something identical happened to Nectar. And Whack's down into 10th, Nectar's down into 12th all of a sudden. What happened with Nectar? Oh, exactly the same as, yeah, exactly the same as Whack. And then, yeah, he wasn't ghosted. That, don't know if that was reported to the stewards, but not the best. So that means Whack is now on reverse grid pole. He's in 10th. Yuri's back up into 9th. Cherry's back up into 8th. Then we got Fancy up in 7th all of a sudden, and Hurricane still a solid 6th. Sam's dropped to 5th after his incident, which means Astro's only a second and a bit away with 2 laps to go from getting a podium here. Fossey, P3, Anonymous the highest of our title rivals, but Ethan's just been in total cruise control, even though he's lost the lead. No, he gained the lead from 2nd place right at the start and never looked back, really. Apart from that one half-second penalty that he got, dropped in behind Sam, who then served his own 2nd penalty, and now Sam's all the way down in 5th place. Ethan missed the first round of the season, so we haven't been talking about him as a title contender. He needs to really outscore the top guys substantially in the second half of the season to get into the fight. But he's a very good driver. He's been in Tier 2, he's had podiums in Tier 2, so capable of very top results. And yeah, looking very smooth today in this Ferrari. Okay, and then who is a little bit further down? We got any more action going on? Oh, hold on, let me just type in our Discord link. There you go. If you click on that or like paste it into a browser, it will take you to our Discord channel. Anyway, back to the racing. We've got one more lap to go. Whack has just started his final lap. He's got a bit of a queue behind him of drivers who want that reverse grid pole position. He's doing pretty well on holding the 2 Lamborghinis off at the moment. A little bit wide into that corner for Whack. Oh, excuse me. Something's happening in my house. I'm hearing banging. I'll be right back. Right, it was windy. Something blew over. Okay, it's all good. Anyway, we're on the final lap, and yeah, Whack is trying to hold off P10 from Jezza and Spin. Looks like he's doing an alright job of it. Jezza keeping the pressure really very much applied, though. This is where Whack went wide on the previous lap. And he makes it this time. Looks like he was a little bit more careful. Now we just got the corkscrew to negotiate. But let's go back up to Ethan because he's already at the checkered flag. An amazing victory for Ethan ahead of Anonyma in P2. Fossey with his first podium in Tier 3. Astro in 4th. Sam down in 5th after his unfortunate incident. And then we got Hurricane all alone in P6. Quite a lonely sprint race for him, but I think he'll take it. Fancy Locks rose through the chaos essentially to take 7th. Cherry, after a bit of an incident, recovers to 8th. Same for Yuri in 9th. And Whack is just going to hold off Jezza, takes 10th. Jezza 11th, Spin 12th. Nectar 12th, Spin 13th. Eli 14th. Then we got Pasty, what's he up to? 15th. And Gunmad is going to, unfortunately, round out the race in 16th after a fairly solid qualifying as well. Okay. Right, I need to do the long search today. So I'll be interested to see what these guys do strategy-wise in the feature race, because some people are going to try and do medium to soft, which is a very, very risky strategy. Hard medium is a lot safer, but if your car is and your driving style is capable of doing a medium soft, that is the best option by far. It's just, can you do it in race conditions when you're racing other cars and taking more life out of your tires by doing that? So I'll be interested to see if anyone's actually starting this race on soft tires. Wack's starting on softs, and Yuri's on hard. So Wack, in these first 4 laps at least, should be able to build up quite a huge lead if Yuri becomes a bottleneck. Cherry is on the medium, so all of the top 3 are starting on different tire compounds. Fancy Lock's on the hards, Hurricane on hards, hards as well for Sam, Astro, pretty much everyone. Mediums for Jezza, and for Spin, Captain Eli, and Pasty, and hards again for Gunmad. So a huge variation of strategies at play here. Wack is the only man on the soft tyres, so it's going to be all eyes on him in these first laps, and how is he going to be able to look after these tyres, make sure that he can maintain a gap that's going to last the rest of the race. Right, 29 laps this one. Yuri has an absolutely brilliant start on his hard tyres. Nearly put a little challenge in there for Wack. Couldn't do it. Now Wack's going to start stretching away as these corners come thick and fast, and he's just going to have a lot more comfort, a lot more grip on these very, very fresh, soft tyres compared to Yuri's mediums. Yuri's going to start to feel a bit of pressure coming his way from Cherry, who's on medium tyres, so he's on a softer compound. Cherry will want to be getting past Yuri fairly quickly here. Fancy Lock's on hards as well, so he shouldn't be posing Cherry much of a problem here as we enter this really tricky left-hander for the first time. Like I said, it's very easy to go over the sausage curves. Looks like everyone's managed to negotiate it and remain on track there, though. Cherry not able to eke into the gap of Yuri. Everyone looks like they've taken the corkscrew all right as well. So, pretty uneventful lap 1 compared to the last race. Wack is a very comfortable P1. It looks like he's got at least a 2.5 second lead there as we finish lap 1. So he's got to keep building on that in the next few laps. He's still got plenty of life in those tyres. Maybe he'll be able to get 9 laps out of them if he's lucky. There was a change in position there between Astro and Sam, so let's go back and see what's happened here. So Astro and Sam competing for a position there. Sam's managed to get the inside as we head down into turn 1, and the straight kind of curves to the left anyway, which favoured Sam. Sam hits the apex very comfortably and steals that position off Astro. One more position up for Sam. Meanwhile, Cherry going fairly quick. He's pretty close to the back of Yuri once again. He needs to be brave in one of these points just to absolutely send it up on the inside. He was thinking about it there. I think he makes Yuri miss the apex a little bit as a result. Hits the corner quite beautifully there. Yeah, not much happening with this battle, although as I said that, it looked like Yuri got the corkscrew a little bit wrong. And yeah, some small mistakes coming into play for Yuri, but not enough for Cherry to get alongside, but it is definitely enough for Wack to continue building quite a big lead that he's got. Yuri really poor on the exit there compared to Cherry. Cherry's definitely got a run. Yuri's already gone defensive down the main straight. Looks like Cherry's going to try and move around the outside into turn 1. Yuri's got the inside line, which is going to favour him if he's brave enough on the brakes. He does. He swoops right past and takes P2 back off Cherry. That was some good defensive work there from Yuri. It looked almost guaranteed that he'd lost that position, but he managed to thread the needle. But both him and Cherry go a little bit on the dirt there. Yuri looked like he lost a little bit more time. Again, great news for Wack. He's going to be extending his lead even more now as he disappears up the next corner already. Everyone's starting to look pretty close together here. Cherry really feeling like he needs to get past on those medium tyres. Fancy Locks on his hards is closed the gap as well. Now then there's Hurricane. Then you got Sam with a second penalty just ahead of Astro, who's very close behind him. Ethan as well has worked his way up into 8th. He wants to take position. Oh, Astro and Sam, looks like they made contact. 2 of the championship rivals getting it all wrong at the corkscrew. Ethan and Fossey swoop through. Let's go back, we need to see that again. Let's ride on board with Astro because he's currently behind Sam. So Sam really out of shape in the middle of that corner, nearly loses it, and then Astro looks like he maybe got a little bump draft. Not too sure, probably not, but then he just brakes far too late and wipes Sam out a little bit there. And Sam gets past him, and yeah, a little bit of sportsmanship there. And then Anonymous kind of stuck in the middle of all this as well. Jez is going to try and get through as well. So I'm not sure what Astro's doing at the moment, but there's been a huge incident which involves Anonymous. What the hell? What is going on? Look at this. What was Spin doing? It was a corner. Oh, poor Anonymous. So that is quite massive because that's one of our championship contenders who's dropped all the way down into 16th now. Well, kind of fortunately for him, the other 2 didn't have a very solid lap either. But anyway, let's go back to the front and see what Wack's up to. It's a much calmer race for Wack. He's completely out of the mess that's going on behind him. He's got Cherry as his closest driver to him now. Cherry is on the medium tyres, so he should be able to keep pace with Wack a little bit better than on the opening 3 laps. Then we've got Yuri, who's on the hard, so he's really benefited from all the shenanigans that we've seen in the opening couple of laps. He's up into 3rd, and Fancy Locks is up into 4th. Ethan, our winner from last week, is already in 5th place. Andy's on the hard tyres, so this is a very, very good opening stint for Ethan. Hurricane as well, he finished 6th and he's 6th again, so he's lost that 1 position to Ethan, but still fairly strong opening. Fossey's just cruising through on his hard tyres up into 7th. Then there's a gap to Jezza, Spin, and Sam is in 10th position now. So up at the front, Fancy Locks really fancying a go at Yuri by the looks of things. He's going to have to do it around the outside. And Yuri sliding through turns 1 and 2 to keep that position. Ethan really close behind now as well. Might be fancying a look. Here we go. Fancy had a better run out that corner. You can see he's lurking pretty close behind again. He's not going to go for a move just yet. Yuri a little bit twitchy out of that corner, allows Fancy and Ethan to close the gap again. Now they're very close into this left-hander, which is a tricky one to get right. They all negotiated fairly strongly. Fancy has a bit of a run on Yuri up the hill, but it's not going to be enough into the corkscrew. Big, deep braking zone here where the cars are all going to come together, and Fancy's going to get a great exit out of the corkscrew. He's going to try and get that 3rd position off Yuri right now into the left-hander, muscles Yuri out of the way, gets the position. Yuri a little bit on the gravel and backing up Ethan a little bit, so Ethan's going to have to try and see what he can do to get past Yuri fairly quickly. Ethan is also on the hard, so they're on identical compounds, but it looks like Ethan is feeling a little bit more comfortable on these hard tyres at this stage. Yuri going defensive as we head into lap 6. Here we go, Ethan and Yuri a little bit side by side into turn 1 and 2. Yuri keeps the position on Ethan. Ethan's going to have to regroup and try again. Let's see what's happening quickly with Whack Jamp's lap time. So he's dropped into the 24, so a 24.3, which is 9/10 slower than what Cherry managed on this lap. So Cherry is starting to eke into Whack's lead now. Whack's tyres are well over 50% worn. So they're well past their sell-by date, basically, at this point. You've got maybe 2 more laps in them, I reckon. Excuse me. So yeah, Cherry might be looking to put a challenge for a win together here, actually, on his medium tyre. This is looking very, very solid for him. Then we got Yuri, who is the lead driver on the hards, still fending Ethan off the position. So Ethan could put himself in a fantastic position if he is the best placed hard tyre driver at this stage of the race. And he is going for it. Yuri gets the final exit a little bit wrong, and there's nothing he can do. Ethan gets past very comfortably here. Lapping in the 24s, these two. There's a 23.7 for Cherry and a 24.9 for Whack. So yeah, Whack's really struggling now, and that gap that he's currently got to Cherry might completely disappear by the time he comes into the pit lane, unless he puts hards on. That would be the other option for him. Speaking of hards, Ethan. Oh, Yuri's lost it on his hard tyres. He's lost that position to Hurricane Jezza Sam. Next is going to come through Fossey. There's Fossey. There's Fancy. And all of a sudden, Yuri's outside the top 10. He's down in 12th and he's got dirty tyres. Big mistake there for Yuri. Completely unforced error. Astro, meanwhile, is all the way at the back. Here's the gap. You can already see Cherry in the back of Whack's screen as Whack power slides through the final corner. That is not the optimal racing line. And this is going to be a 26, 27, a 26.8 compared to a 23.4 for Cherry. Cherry should take the lead of the race on this lap. Whack still got to stay out. At least, well, can he do another lap after this? I don't know. I don't think he can. His tyre management's not been good enough, basically, if he's going to be trying to make a soft medium strategy work. And Cherry is reeling him in. Let's ride on board with Cherry and see how that gap to Whack continues to close. Now this is where Cherry's going to start losing time himself. He's going to have to start making adjustments so that he doesn't get too close to Whack in the corners. One corner where that can definitely happen is this corkscrew. Oh, much better line through the corner by Cherry. That is an absolutely fantastic overtake. And now he's going to seal the deal into the following corner through the corkscrew, taking an unconventional line, which was better than Wax, who went a little bit deep and overtook him around the outside of the exit of the corkscrew. That is a fantastic overtake to take the lead of the race. And now Cherry's got a great opportunity here because Whack is carrying on again to build quite a massive lead on Whack and also on Ethan while he's still got the tyre advantage. Those mediums are still looking fairly healthy, 75% of life left in them, I would say, based on what I can see. Maybe 60% at a push. Ethan obviously with 80% hard tyres, so he's looking very comfortable. He's still lapping in the 23s for 2 laps in a row. Cherry actually was lapping in the 25s that last lap, so he's lost a good 1.5 to 2 seconds behind Whack. So that might become an important couple of seconds later on in the race, where we see how these tyre strategies play out. We'll have to wait and see. A little bit further down, Hurricane's just in a comfortable P4 at the moment on his hard tyres. So he's enjoying the hards. He's lapping in the 25s though, so nowhere near the pace of the top the top guys. Well, Ethan especially, who's on the hard tyres. We got Sam lapping in the 24s. He's catching up to Hurricane at about a second a lap. Jezza on the mediums, still keeping up with them, dropping into the 25s for the first time on that previous lap. Nectar's still doing fairly good on the hards. In P7 he's kept Fossey fairly far behind, and Fancelot stopped making progress after getting into the top 10. Now we've got Whack in the pits, so we'll have to see where he comes out, because he might actually not be too far away from some of these guys at the back. Gunmad and Astro look like they're having a nice little scrap for P40. Gunmad's nearly lost it there, and manages not to take Astro out as well, so that was a good little save there from Gunmad. We've already lost a driver. I think that was Pasty that we've lost, so he's had enough. That's his second rage quit of the season, which is a bit sad to see. So Hurricane promoted into the podium positions at the moment. So this is looking pretty good for Sam as well, as as I said, he has been lapping quicker than Hurricane. This might be the next overtake we see on track, because they're not going into the pits for about another 9 or 10 laps, these guys. If they're going to do the hard soft, that is. If they want the hard medium, they could potentially come in this lap. Let's see how these guys negotiate the corkscrew. Fairly similar line. Sam nearly losing it on the exit though. Are they going to nail both of them a little bit shy on the apex? They're a little bit wide on the exit as well. Better corner there for Sam. Closes the gap nicely. Yeah, a little bit all over the place on exit allows Hurricane to start to extend the gap again, and that was a 24.6. So what's the gap between Cherry and Ethan? Ethan is doing a 23.8, which is pretty insane pace on the hard tyres, it's got to be said. 24.3 on the mediums for Cherry, so Cherry is a good chunk slower than Ethan at the moment. Ethan is starting to reel Cherry in fairly quickly. Right, so we are just over a third of the way through the race. It's looking very comfortable for Cherry. What he's going to do next is going to be incredibly important. Are we going to see a medium hard strategy or a medium soft strategy? The safe strategy is the hard strategy, but if you want to win the race, it depends. The Lexus doesn't have good tyre wear, that's the problem. So that might automatically veto any suggestions of putting on the soft tyres. Tyres are looking fairly worn, they're over 50% now. He is still lapping in the 24s, and was a lot closer to Ethan's pace that time, still a little bit slower. Meanwhile, there is definitely a train behind Hurricane now. Jezza on his mediums has caught up to the back of Sam. Let's just see where Whack's come out as well. Whack is ahead of Astro. I think, so he's got a bit of clear air now, to Gunmad ahead of him. So this should be a fairly straightforward run for him. He's on the mediums. The problem is, he might have to make another pit stop and put on softs again. So that would rule him out a bit. But when these guys come into the pits, they should definitely be quite a way behind Whack, and then start to reel him in as their stint goes on with their fresher tyres. Ooh, Cherry a little bit deep there, manages to rescue it on the downhill part of the corkscrew. Ethan, yeah, he'll be seeing Ethan getting closer pretty much every corner now at this point. There we go. The gap, I would say, let's see, maybe 2 or 3 seconds maximum. Eli's come into the pit. So what's Eli going to be doing? Oh, Astro's off again. Eli's come into the pits quite early. He's on medium tyres. They're only about half one. Very similar tyre wear actually to Cherry. I'm assuming that he's putting on hard tyres now. That has to be the only call that he could do. Gunmad's come in off of his hard tyres, so he might be doing the exact opposite of Eli and putting on mediums for the rest of the race. And Wack should comfortably get past these guys. He was comfortably ahead of them before the pit stops. And Gunmad's just about to head into his pit box as well. So away Eli goes, and he is going to be out and on. He's going to tell us. Because I know it's not mediums. Oh, it is mediums. Eli's put on another set of mediums. Why? Was that a mistake? Are we doing a two-stop? Gunmad's out on mediums as well, as expected. So that one at least wasn't a shock. That, I'm baffled. You did a two-stop, okay. Yeah, I tried that once. It's not a good strategy, unfortunately, for Laguna. Anyway, Hurricane also pit. He's down. No, he hasn't, but he's down in 10th. So what's happened to Hurricane? Oh no, it was going so well. Oh dear. That was quite a dramatic one. Don't have to make such a big deal out of it. Bloody hell. So Hurricane, unfortunately for him, he has not pit. He's down in 10th after that quite big incident. It cost him about 15-20 seconds. Pro Spin up into 9th, Fancy Lux up into 8th, Anonyma 7th, Nectar is 6th now, and Fossey gets another position just from being consistent. He's caught up to the back of Jezza, who was stuck for a while behind Hurricane. I think Spin lost a few positions as well, because he was just behind Jezza for a little while in this race. Here comes Fossey. He's looking very, very comfortable on his hard tyres compared to Jezza. Let's see what he could do here. Jezza's already going defensive into the left-hander coming up right here. And Jezza completely, I was going to say completely backs out, but he absolutely doesn't. He just made sure that he nailed the apexes, which Fossey didn't. He went completely wide around the entire corner. Still got the overtake done on Jezza. So absolutely nothing Jezza could have done there. He's just been caught with his pants absolutely pulled down by Fossey. Fossey up into 3rd place now, and it's looking pretty solid for him. How is Ethan doing versus Cherry? Ethan has caught right up to the back of Cherry, but hasn't been able to get close enough to mount a challenge. Cherry's tyres are starting to look a little bit sad as we are over the halfway point into the race. Still waiting to see when Cherry's going to pit. Nectar is the next one to come into the pits to get off his hard tyres. He's going to put on mediums. Fancy Lux is going to do the same. That means Fossey's up in 6th now. Spin's going to get past these guys. Remember, Wack is the lead driver who's made a pit stop. So let's see what he can do. If he's going to stay ahead of his teammate Fancy Lux, who's still yet to start refueling. Should be, yeah, it is. It's very comfortable that Wack's going to stay ahead of those guys. So Wack back into the top 10 on his medium tyres. He's currently lapping in the 24s, which is comparable with Cherry, actually a little bit slower than Cherry still, despite being on the fresher tyres. Just as I say that, Cherry got the corkscrew run. This is going to open the door for Ethan to try and get a move done. Cherry winking at Ethan. I don't think he realised he's got his indicator on. And Cherry going defensive. Ethan's going to try and hold it around the outside, which he does, and he goes into the pits instead of completing the move. That is fantastic to see. That was a bit of trolling. Yeah, I don't actually need to overtake you. I'm going into the pits anyway. Ethan deciding to get an undercut. Sorry, an undercut done on Cherry on these medium tyres. What's going to be crucial here is where is Cherry going to come out in relation to Whack? Like we were saying, Whack should have the undercut on Cherry, but Whack's time since he's made his pit stop haven't been fantastic. Whack did have track position and a few seconds on Ethan when he came into his pit stop. Ethan wasn't really held up much in his battle against Cherry. Ethan's now fully fueled and it looks like he's already exiting the pits. Whack is currently crossing the finish line now. As soon as we go over this hill, we might be able to see Ethan going around the corner. Or is he already around? He's already around the corner. We still can't see Whack. There he is, Whack, in the very far distance. That was an easy strategy in the end for Ethan. Just by staying out longer, he ensured that he didn't have to get an overtake done on Whack jabs. That means that Cherry and Sam should also have track position on Whack when they come into the pits. So maybe Whack's just driving very slowly. Well, he did a 128 that lap. That's probably got a lot to do with it as well. But perhaps he's just driving very slowly to preserve his tyres. That's what. It's not a pace issue. It's just maybe. Sam's in the pits now, so Cherry carrying on for another lap on his mediums. This is quite brave. This is quite brave if he's going to be trying to do the softs, because I think he's going to lose track position if he tries to do a medium soft strategy. Definitely going to lose it on Ethan. Let's see where Sam comes out. Well, he still hasn't put in his fuel yet, so he might actually be a bit closer to Whack than I thought. So he's just started putting in his fuel now. Ethan's already gone past the pit boxes. Whack's going past the pit boxes. Sam's just been released from the pits. Sam is going to have a shorter line because he technically skips turn 1 and 2. So we won't see if he's too far ahead until... Oh, it looks like Whack's just got past Sam. Sam just exits the pit lane and slots right behind Whack. So he's got a lot of hard work ahead of him, Sam, if he wants to get that position off of Whack and to start to chase down Ethan. Sam's gone on to mediums. Was that a mistake? You can't do a medium strategy, so maybe I don't know what's going to happen. He's going to have to pit again and put on softs towards the end, I guess. So that's good news for everyone else, because that was definitely a mistake. Fossey's gone into the pits. He's going from hards to mediums, so let's not see a set of hards on his. Hurricane's also coming into the pits now, so Ethan's going to swoop around and return into the top 5. God, what's happening with the strategies, guys? Sam's going to carry on. He actually got past Whack, so he missed probably a fairly good overtake here. Yeah, he just absolutely sends it, which is what you can do when you've got absolutely beautifully fresh and soft tyres on. You can afford to just chuck your car into places like that. Sam isn't going into the pits yet. He's having to defend from Whack. You can't overtake around the outside of the final bend. I've never seen a single driver do it in all my time racing at this circuit. Whack might have a chance of getting an overtake done into turn 1. Looks like Sam's got a bit of a pull on him though. So what's happening towards the front? Spin on the medium stays out. So these guys, the two Lambos, are definitely going to try the medium soft strategy. Anonyma on the hards, potentially trying the hard soft strategy. We'll have to see. And Cherry still on the mediums. He's down in the 25s now. That is looking really rough. Is he going to carry on again? This is the wrong strategy, my friend. You should have realised that your tyre wear was too high and just cut your losses and pit earlier for hards, I think. This is going to be rough because you might have a sliver at the very end of this lap. You might be in the high 24s at the moment. You could be in at least the 25s on this lap with tyres like that. But hey, what do I know? So this is looking pretty good for Sam now. Now that he's dispatched Whack, and he's already created quite a big gap behind him as well to Whack. So he doesn't have to worry about that. He might have potentially P2 in the bag here, Sam. Or at least he would if he didn't put on another set of medium tyres. So he's gonna have to make another. He's gonna have to make another pit stop. Let's ride on board with this guy. Let's see how he completes the last few corners of this lap, because I think he has to come into the pits now and just try and do 10 on softs if that's what he's committed to. Very tricky corner to do on low tyres. Managed to keep it on track pretty well. Now, is he coming into the pits? He is? Okay. Sam started on hards. Really? Well, if he did start on hards, then oops. Then yeah, this is a great feature race for him. Then I take everything I said back, and he's on course to finish second. Wack's still in P3 at the moment. He's gonna be caught pretty quickly by Eli. He's actually started doing pretty well and popped up right behind Wack through the pit sequence. I don't know how that's happened, because Eli definitely wasn't in the hunt. He actually has a chance to take Wack. Wack's having to go defensive in the final corner. He's going to have his line into the corner compromised. Eli tries a bit of a cutback, and he's already alongside Wack as we head into lap 20, and he's going to have the position done into turn 1. Let's see. Wack's going to try and hold it around the outside. You're not going to be able to do that, unfortunately. That was a fairly straightforward overtake for Eli. So this is looking pretty good for Eli. Let's have a look at Cherry. Cherry's come out on mediums. What is going on? Eli's got to pit again, we know that. Sam, I thought, had to pit again, but we know he doesn't. Is Cherry on the right tyres or the wrong tyres? What is going on? I'm going back a lap or two just to see. Cherry was on mediums. And now he's on mediums again. So Cherry has made a mistake with his tyres. That has to be a mistake. So Cherry was comfortably leading the race for a little while. He's lost a couple of positions, but he should have had a fairly comfortable podium in my opinion. But he's going to, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next with Cherry. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't think softs would have lasted 10 laps with the tyre wear that I saw. There's Wack and Fancy having a little battle behind though. Fancy absolutely going for it on Wack. Wack's just not feeling comfortable on these tyres anymore. He's losing one position every half a lap at the moment. Now Anonymous is going to cruise up behind. Anonymous on very, very fresh mediums. Might be fancying an easy position on Wack. Wack struggling through turn 1. I think he's having an overheating issue with his tyres here, because he's struggling on every single corner. And this is going to be a fairly standard overtake for Anonymous. Now Wack's got a bit of a cushion behind him to Jezza and Nectar, so he just needs to find his rhythm again, basically. Adjust to... Oh, not like that, not like that. But he saves it. Right, this is our, well, pre-season favourite for the championship. Unfortunately, having a bit of a mare. I remember last time we raced at Laguna Seca, I was commentating Wack. Oh, Fancy's in the wall! What? It was looking so good for Fancy. So Fancy, first of all, gets that corner wrong. He's dirtied up his tyres, which probably is going to have an impact on the braking here into the hot corkscrew. Makes the corner fairly okay, and just goes straight into the wall. Outside the top 10, and pretty slow to rejoin, to be honest. Not the most competitive rejoin. Cherry's identified his problem, and he's gone back into the pits to put on some soft tyres. That is going to promote everyone up a position. So all of a sudden, with Cherry having to pit again and Fancy Locks absolutely kissing that inside wall there, Yeah, it's looking pretty good for a top 5 all of a sudden for Whack. Oh, Anonymous very wide into turns 1 and 2, but gets away with it. Jezza looking pretty solid for a good result. Nectar looking pretty solid for a good result. Fossey, I don't know how Fossey's in 8th. I'm pretty sure every time I was looking at him, he was making progress up the field. Don't know if he maybe put in too much fuel. I don't know. Maybe he's lucky that I missed a mistake of his. Spin down in 9th. Fancy Lock's now in 10th. And then these guys have just had absolute nightmare after nightmare. Look at that. So, where does that leave us? Ethan is on for the first double win of the season. It's very rare that we see double wins, to be honest. Not many people, I think, could say that they've got a double win. I think Ethan may have a double win, because when he started, he was in the very lower tiers. I think he won one of the championships in the lower tiers as well. They got put up to tier 2. Now he's in tier 3, and maybe putting in a case for a promotion. I mean, this is incredibly quick in one of the toughest circuits, I think it's fair to say. An incredibly technical circuit. He's not driving the easiest of cars as well, but he is... he's done a cracking job. On the hard tyres he was lapping about a second quicker than everyone. Now he's lapping in the 22s on the softs, on par with what Sam's able to do in the Lexus. Sam does have the fastest lap though. Eli looking a comfortable 3rd, but remember he has to make another pit stop as well. This was strategic, unlike Cherry's. So that is going to promote Anonyma into a podium position. So that's going to keep Anonyma really in the fight, minimising his loss to Sam by just a single position. Then we've got Whack potentially up in P4, but he's got a huge train behind him. This is one that I want to watch because I think we're going to start to see some action here. We've got some usual suspects from some of the incidents that we've seen so far this season in this train. They're all doing pretty good, it's got to be said, in this race. Whack a little bit wide into the corkscrew, but everyone negotiating it pretty well. Now everyone's going to snake through this corner. Captain Eli into the pits for his final stop. He'll be incredibly quick on these last few laps. Oh, Jezza nearly losing it there. Nectar's going to try and move around the outside of Jezza, and we're 2x2 behind as well with Fossey and Spin, and we're still 2x2, and this really helps Whack. He's got a bit of a gap now. Here's Jezza. He's just ahead of Nectar, and Spin is ahead of Fossey now as well. So everyone's going to start to concertina into each other again in turns 1 and 2, especially because Whack has gone wide there. This is now the battle for P4. Where's Eli coming out of the pits? He's still on the pit exit now. This is... yeah, ouch. He's come out behind quite a big queue of cars. The first one is going to be Gunmad. Gunmad is on the mediums, which are about approaching 50% worn. And yeah, it'll take him a little bit of time to catch up to the back of Gunmad as well by the looks of things. So Ethan just rounding the final corner to... oh, we've got some changes in position. Something's happened. Whack! Don't tell me. Not again. He's in the gravel. It's all gonna go wrong. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, this was reported into the stewards. Nectar went off as well there, so that was bad. What happened with Nectar? Let's ride on board and see. So Whack's already off. Nectar gets punted off by Spin as well at the exact same time. So it was a double Lamborghini homicide in one corner. Nectar and Whack were the big losers there. Fancy Logs getting a couple of free positions as a result of that through Co's Hurricane as well. He must have been in the wars because he was doing pretty well at the start of the race. So that promotes Jez to 4th and Spin to 5th. Fossey now in 6th place. So he's just popped up out of nowhere into the top 6. Could potentially be higher with Stewart's penalties as well. We've got some changes for position between Nectar and Hurricane going on as well. Whack Jam's coming into the pits anyway. I think he's had enough. had enough of these mediums. He can't make them last when he's being shoved into the gravel and they're getting lots of damage on them. Really unfortunate for Wack. He started the race so strongly and he's going to finish it outside any meaningful points today. So his return to tier 3 is not going to plan. Eli on his whoa. So Goodmad loses it a little bit in between 1 and 2. Eli's thinking, right, how can I get past him? I'm going to try it around the outside and brake incredibly late. There's a little bit of contact and then Eli just can't turn it. So attempt number 1 at making up positions for Eli was unsuccessful. Wack's going to come out all the way at the back of the field as well. We've only got 5 more laps to go. It's going to be 4 for Ethan because he's just about to finish that lap that we saw some of those guys just starting. Jezza is now at the head of... Fossini loses it at the back there. I was going to say it's a trade, but it's not so much anymore because of Fossini losing it there. See, is there any action going on? Looks like Nectar is currently has a bit of a cushion on Hurricane for now. And he should have the tyres to see it out as well. Hurricane's tyres much more fresh. So Hurricane losing a lot of track position by staying out. Where did Cherry go? Cherry's down in 12th as well, after having his mistake. God, and Astro, what's happened with Astro's race? I'm really confused actually, how Astro is this far down. This could be a pivotal race in his championship, that's for sure. What about this guy? Is this going to be the dark horse? We've been talking about a 3-horse race for the championship between the 2 Porsches and Sam. Ethan's just come out and scored a double win. Next up we're in Kyoto, which I think will be a strong track for the Ferrari. It's a good track for the Lexus and for the Porsche as well, actually, to be fair. So yeah, I think Ethan could be up there again. The problem for him though is Sam and Anonymous and up until today Astro as well have been so consistent, just always in the very top end of the points. But yeah, I think things will change in the second half of the season. Nerves will start to kick in, mistakes will start to be made as the opportunity to actually win your first championship gets closer. It does add a completely different dimension to the race, adds a little bit of extra edge. We've seen a lot of drivers get very close to winning championships and kind of be their own worst enemy on the where it mattered most. So we'll have to see who that happens to this season. Nectar's dropped off. Oh no. Hurricane stayed with Nectar fairly well. Captain Eli in the top 10 now. Gunman's dropped behind Eli and Cherry, who were on the fresher softs. Then we got Wack on the softs as well. I guess he's going to be trying to get the fastest lap point off of Anonymous. He's not going to be doing it like that though. I mean, just look at those lap times for Ethan. All 22s and 23s for the last 10 laps in a row. It's not easy to get that kind of consistency, and you don't see it very often in Tier 3. But that's exactly what you need to win a race. Look, compare that with Sam. Sam also in the 22s and 23s. Very consistent, but usually a 10th or 2 slower than Ethan. Then we got Anonymous, a little bit more erratic in his timings. That's why he's dropped quite a way off those two. Spin as well, some laps in the 26s and 25s. on soft tires as well, which is interesting. He's got not much life left in that rear right tire, has Spin. So we're gonna have to see if he can actually make it to the end. Fossey has also got ahead of Jezza, so Jezza's had an issue somewhere and fallen behind those two. We won't rewind. So our two recently promoted drivers, Fossey and Fancy Locks, both in the top 7 in this one. Both of them being on the podium already in tier 3, but this race they've been a little bit more consistent. Well, everyone else, well, have they been consistent? The top guys have been consistent and the bottom guys have been very inconsistent. Right, final lap has started. Let's rejoin Ethan and give him some attention on this final lap. This is going to catapult him up into 4th place in the standings. Remember, he didn't even score any points in the opening week because he wasn't here for it. So he's scoring points at a rate very similar to the top 3. And if he'd raced in round 1, we'd be definitely talking about him as a championship contender, I reckon. He's got a couple of corners to contend with in this race though, and this has been a perfect Monday for Ethan, scoring a double win. Didn't take a single win last season in his Jaguar. Now he's going to get 2 wins in one night in the Ferrari, so that proves what improvement Ethan's made. Well done to Ethan on taking your 2nd win of the night. Another solid P2 for Sam. Keeps the championship lead as we head into the Christmas break. We've got Anonymous rounding the final corner. Going to take a P3 pretty much all on his own there. Then we have Spin and Fossey. Oh, wow, battling for the final position here. We've got Spin. Looks like he's got a better exit out of that final corner. He's going to win the drag race and take P5 from Fossey, who nearly nicked P4 from him right at the end. Then we've got Jezza at P6. Then we've got Fancy Locks down in 7th. Then we've got a bit of a train of cars next to Hurricane. Eli couldn't overtake him at the end. Then we got Cherry, who made his mistake putting on an extra set of mediums. Gunman in 12th place there. Then quite a gap to the guys who've been in the wars all race. Here's Yuri, Astro, and then unfortunately for Whack, he is in last place. Single point for Whack for his troubles in this feature race. So yeah, that's it. That was the last race of the year. We'll be back early Jan. We've got Kyoto Yamigawa is round 5, which is pretty awesome track. I think it'll favour the MR cars a bit more than the FR cars though. But yeah, join us then, and yeah, enjoy your time off.